Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order, please. May I have approval of the agenda? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next item, Pledge of Allegiance, please. Okay, next agenda item is announcements, please.
Good evening. Summer will be here soon. This is a reminder to all our families to register for summer school. For families who qualify for transportation, it is important to register soon so transportation arrangements can be made. To register, visit your school office or go to www.beloitschools.net/summer school for more information. We would like to congratulate our Beloit Memorial Jazz Orchestra for their honorable mention at the Essentially Ellington Jazz Competition in New York City. Our student placed 4th in the nation. Congratulations. Yeah. You can hear them for yourselves this Friday night at Music at the Park in downtown Beloit. The 76th annual intermediate track meet continues tomorrow at Beloit Memorial, featuring 4th and 5th graders from Aldridge and Cunningham Intermediate Schools. The community is invited to cheer on the students. Our annual Beloit Memorial High School graduation ceremony will take place Saturday, June 9th at 10 a.m. at Jacobson Field. The summer food program is back again this year, serving free meals to children 18 and younger. It all kicks off Wednesday, June 13th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Beloit Memorial Fieldhouse. Join us for activities for the whole family and free lunch. For more information, visit summerfoodbeloit.org. Be sure to visit our website or follow us on Facebook and Twitter for more information on all the great things happening in our district. That concludes tonight's announcements.
Moving on to Jen Thompson and recognitions, please.
Well, good evening, Madam President, members of the board, everyone here with us in the room tonight. I got a packed house, and those of you watching along at home. It is my privilege each month to recognize individuals in our school district for their accomplishments, and we have quite a few to recognize tonight. First of all, we would like to recognize some of our artists over at Beloit Memorial, specifically Casimir Montiel Reyes and Madeline Calkins. Is Madeline here? Yeah. Madeline, hi Madeline, come right in front of the podium. So just smile. Let me tell you about these ladies. First of all, I would like to say that Casimir couldn't be here. She's actually on the soccer field right now playing for Beloit Memorial, so we're cheering her on in spirit this evening. So Casimir was one of 3 finalists in the 2018 Congressional Art Competition. That means that her impressive work will be on display for 1 year in the United States Capitol. Specifically, her work will be on display in the Cannon Tunnel, which connects the Cannon House office building with the U.S. Capitol. This means that as congressmen and congresswomen go to work each and every day, they are going to pass Casimir's artwork. In addition, she's going to be recognized at a ceremony in D.C. Her drawing that was selected is about her father. Each side of the piece is flanked in writings telling the story about how he came to the United States and how she will be the first person in her family to graduate high school. He is extremely proud of her, and so are we. Madeline Calkins, who I understand goes by Maddie, is that correct? Yeah. Fantastic. Maddie won a distinguished gold key at the Wisconsin Scholastic Arts and Writing Competition, and her art instructor, Miss Elizabeth Carpenter, could not stop gushing about her work. Her paper sculpture was on display for a month at the Milwaukee Art Museum. I think many artists would be envious of that they would like to be there as well. And she's one of ours, I just want to say that. There are only 4 sculptures chosen out of hundreds of entries, and she went on to compete at the national level. I believe we're still waiting for those results. Is that correct?
No, that one was no award, but one there. But
that's okay. We still love you. In addition to that award, Maddie was also a major contributor to the Vans Custom Culture entry. So thank you to everyone in the community that continued to vote for them. She made the entirety of the Shoe Monster. So if you saw their Vans Custom Culture piece, Maddie was responsible for half of that piece of work. The entry made it to the top 50 in the United States in the competition. So we are really impressed with both Cassimy and Madeline, and so join me in recognizing them tonight. That's all you had to do. All right, this next student, wow. So I got to spend a little bit of time with our next recipient, and it was so fun to learn about this young lady and her passion for writing. So I would like to invite to the podium Miss Della Hall. So Miss Della, if you would come up here. Come right here so they can all see you at home. There you go. Now, I will say that when I first met Della, she was donning a purple cape. I was really expecting the cape tonight, Della. Is that at home, right? And the mask. She has a purple mask because she has an alter ego called Princess Purple. So let me tell you a little bit about why Della is so special. Converse Elementary second grader Della was recently named the grand prize winner in the Scholastic Book Club's Monster Alarm Story Starter Contest. It was a nationwide writing competition drawing entries from all over the country. Not just Beloit, not just Wisconsin, but we're talking all over the nation. And she was the grand prize winner. I know, right? You should all be like, yeah. I mean, the people at home are oohing and ahhing too. So as the grand prize winner, let me tell you what Della got. Della received 2 deluxe fairy tale libraries, 1 for home and 1 for her classroom. Yeah, in addition, she and her classmates each received 2 books from the Princess and Black book series, and they got a special Skype visit with the authors, Shannon and Dean Hale. Now, when I was hanging out with Della, I asked her, how does it feel to be the grand prize winner? And she said, it felt amazing, just awesome to win all this cool stuff. In total, Della received 64 books, correct? Yeah. And when I talked to her, she predicted that it will probably take her about a year to read all of them, but she has full intentions of reading all of them, and when I talked to her last, she had already read 5. How many of you read now? More than that, right? Totally. So when I asked what's next, Della said she will continue to write and illustrate, but plans to move on to chapter books. She intends to continuing entering writing and illustration contest, and this very wise young lady said to me, if I don't win, at least I tried and I did my best. I won't stop. I will keep trying. So please help me recognize Miss Della Hall. And in the back with the pink camera is her teacher, Miss Zelly, and her principal, Miss Vicki Hamilton. So congratulations, Della. Woo, so great. Love these students. So we're going to move from small to big now. We've got some seniors here that we would like to recognize. Every graduate has a story, and we certainly know that every graduate of ours has a story. Every graduate has overcome at least some obstacles before walking across the stage to get their diplomas. We also know that those that we are spotlighting tonight are just a few of those stories. We know that there are so many wonderful stories that will come out of Beloit Memorial as we get closer to graduation, and we can't wait to continue celebrating all of these students. So tonight, just the few stories that we are highlighting will celebrate a representation of our amazing graduates and the wonderful things that lie before them when they leave Beloit Memorial. So I'd like to invite up here Katrina Askew, Ewan Vo, Michaela Ward, Elton Rodriguez, Jack Cronin, and Ellie Conover Crockett. If you guys would come up here and join me so I can brag on you for a minute. All right, so it looks like Katrina is unable to be here with us tonight, but she is the recipient of a $10,000 Herb Cole Scholarship. I know, right? Who doesn't want $10,000? Yuen Vo received a full ride scholarship to Mount Mary University. Oh. Miss Michaela Ward, who is closest to me, was recently crowned Miss Beloit. She's available for pictures afterwards, but you have to pay her $5 because it goes toward her college fund. Right, Michaela? She didn't say that, I did. But Michaela will be leaving us in Beloit, and she'll be heading down to Alabama State University. Don't take, you can accept bigger bills, though. Just don't give them change. You're welcome. Elton Rodriguez, he participated in the Business Emerging Leaders Program through the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And through this program, and being as he was offered admission to the UW, he will now attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison with full tuition thanks to the BEL program scholarship. Jack Cronin, no relation, I'm sure, to anybody at that table. Just kidding. Look at how proud you look. Oh, my gosh. Jack Cronin has been accepted to the United States Air Force Academy. Ellie Conover Crockett, member of the award-winning Beloit Memorial Jazz Orchestra. I just had to plug that. She not only got a perfect ACT, but she's headed to Yale University. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you just a snapshot of some of our graduating seniors and how amazing they are. So, I know you've already applauded for each one of them, but give them a big round of applause. They're saying if you want to take their picture, just slip them $10. They'll stand here for a second and wait for you. Just kidding, you guys are good. We're not kidding about the money to help them go to college, though. Because there's still books, right, students? Also on the agenda for recognition is our student board representative, Evelyn Mendoza, who has served us for the last year as board representative. She couldn't be here tonight, so accepting this award on her behalf is me. All right, so last but not least, I'm just going to take up all your time tonight. Sorry, President Endres. We have an amazing young woman with us tonight. In a time before girls were awarded letters or even allowed to compete in high school and college athletics, she was still determined to do so. Despite being voted most athletic girl, she was denied the opportunity to compete because of her gender. She was a part of the Beloit Bombers, the Beloit's women's fast pitch team from 1948 to 1952. The team even traveled to Rockford's Marinelli Field to take on the now infamous Rockford Peaches. So before I go any further, though, I would like to invite Miss Doris Forbes, class of 1948, up here to the podium. Yay! 70 years, well, I'm going to try not to cry when I get through this, but I've been so inspired this week by Doris's story. So Doris would go on to compete in the Senior Olympics beginning at age 65. It's rude to tell a lady's age, so we're keeping that out of the presentation tonight. And at age 69, she set the state record for her age group for discus. Doris continues to be active today, participating most recently in the 2015 Madison Senior Olympics. And this amazing woman holds 9 Wisconsin Senior Olympics records. I know, right? In a 2007 article, she said, "My goal always in sports was to show that women can compete in sports and still be feminine. She continues to prove every day that girls can indeed compete with boys." No offense, guys. So, as a result of that, we are so very excited tonight to finally present, look at that face, I love it, to finally present Doris with her varsity athletic letter. She's waited 70 years for this, people. 70 years. Do you want to say a few words? Into the mic?
We went around the city of Beloit and we went to different. Come right here.
Yeah. We want to make sure that the people at home can hear you.
A group of girls got together with a man who was a very good coach, and we went to around the whole city, and we got everybody. Oh, by the way, this is mine. My nickname was Bunny because I ran fast. Just because of running. Okay. Anyway, we all got, and we, for 4 years, we played different places, even in the Peaches. 3 different times we played the third string of the Peaches. But they played a 9-inch ball, and we played a 10-inch ball. We never won, but we had a lot of fun playing them. So I have had a ball doing all of these things. I have 479 medals that I have accumulated since I was in high school in '48. And I'm still running and jumping and having a ball. I couldn't have more fun. And I can't tell you girls, oh, please keep going. Please show everyone what you can do. And I have. Thank you so much. This is it.
That's you. The board may say something to you, though. Do you have comments for any of the award or honorees tonight?
We do. To our students, I just want to make the public once again aware, we're not talking about just state awards. We're talking nationwide awards and full ride scholarships. So to our students, thank you. Great job. To Ms. Forbes, thank you for laying the groundwork for all of us. For little ones who are going to be authors and illustrate books, to artists who have won national recognition, you laid the groundwork that has allowed all of us to go further, and each of us take what you did and build upon it. So gratitude and thank you. Thank you for showing us the way. So, and thanks for being here tonight, because you made it really special. Thanks.
Good evening. I just want to say to all of those students, congratulations, Michaela Ward. All of you are going off to do great things. Sometimes you have to shake people's hands while it's still free, and so I'm gonna get my handshake after this meeting. I also want to just say to Jack Cronin, congratulations on receiving that scholarship to the Air Force Academy. I tried my best to find out if there's anybody else who's ever been accepted to the U.S. Air Force Academy, and I couldn't find anyone. That is a huge feat, and usually people who attend that academy go on to become what we call general officers. And so congratulations, but to all of the students, and Ms. Forbes, to your daughter, thank you so much for reaching out and allowing me to work with you to set this up for tonight, and congratulations, and thank you so much.
All right, moving on the agenda, we are on to citizens or delegations. So knowing that I have quite a few people signed up, I have a script that I'm required by law to read, so we're going to get through this and then we'll get started. Members of the audience, the Board of Education is now at the place on the agenda where we will receive public comments from individuals or delegations on areas of interest that are not on the agenda. The Board of Education will generally not respond or act on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Appropriate items will be referred to administration or one of the board's committees. Persons wishing to speak on one of the posted agenda items may do so as items are called by the board president. While the board and district welcome public comments, we as a board also must ask that you exercise care in your comments that relate specifically to district employees or persons connected with the school system. In order to protect the rights of these individuals and in the interest of complying with open meetings law on prior postings of items for consideration at this meeting, the board reserves the right to end comment on such topics. The use of specific names of district personnel may lead to legal liability on the part of the speaker. The board would also remind the public that the board has existing procedures in place to dispose of legitimate complaints against staff members and persons related to the system. Persons desiring to speak should complete the public comment card, hand it to the board secretary, and then proceed to the podium. You will then need to clearly state your name and address for the record. Before beginning your comments, each person is asked to speak no more than 3 minutes unless you are using an interpreter. So those wishing to speak, if you want to just step up to the podium, we'll take everybody one at a time.
I'm Susan Adams. I'm at 703 Milwaukee Road in Beloit. And I have a couple of comments. One is about the HR director, which is not the person's name. I think that we deserve an explanation, as the paper had it in, as to why the HR director was hired in mid-April and rather than in July 1st. And then I've heard the current HR director is no longer in the office. And is that true or not? You can put it back in the paper or whatever. My second one is, I was at a couple of BTC listening sessions, and I'm very supportive of a possible stronger partnership with between the school district and BTC, including offering dual credit classes.
I'm Pastor James Ivey, pastor of the New Zion Baptist Church, address 1905 Mound Avenue here in Beloit, Wisconsin. I'm here to speak to the clear unfairness in the process of searching, selecting, and hiring a superintendent for the district. This unfairness by the board is seen in how Dr. Darrell Williams had not been considered as a final candidate for the superintendent of the school board district of Beloit, though he is most certainly qualified, as Dr. Williams has served this district as interim superintendent after the dubious resignation of Dr. Tom Johnson. Proof of Dr. Williams' qualifications and ability to fulfill the position of superintendent have certainly been made evident. Of the final candidates that were publicly announced in Beloit Daily News on Thursday, May 17th, neither of the candidates held the same credentials and qualifications that Dr. Williams holds. And not to afford Dr. Williams an opportunity to the position of the superintendent makes the decision-making abilities and search process of this board gravely suspect. It has been recently made public via the district website that the board has suspended the search for the superintendent. The website posted that the Beloit Board of Education voted to suspend the search for the next superintendent. Votes were taken to hire an outside interim superintendent and pursue leadership and governance training for the board and district leaders. If I read that post correctly, then that vote by the board means that Dr. Williams has been or will be dismissed from the position of interim superintendent, which is even a greater travesty and insult to a fair process. In that same post on the district website, Board President Indris was quoted as having said, "We must ensure that the process to select the next superintendent builds trust with all stakeholders. And as a board, we want to stabilize the district and improve the climate to set the next superintendent up for success." In my opinion, the current decisions and actions of the board have done the very opposite of what President Indris has stated were your intentions. The decision of the board to overlook Dr. Williams for consideration. The decision of the board to hire an outside interim superintendent, which means removing Dr. Williams from that position, which is a decision I've come to understand he was not personally informed, but was made aware of by reading about it in the local newspaper. And the board's decision not to amply and thoroughly evaluate Dr. Williams to ascertain his ability to take on a role as superintendent. All these decisions do not, in fact, build trust with stakeholders. These decisions and actions of this board have only furthered distrust with district staff, parents, and students. I'm asking this board to correct its course and develop a process of fairness as it pertains to fulfilling the position of the superintendent. And one way the board can do just that is to at least be consistent. In recent past years, when there arose the need to choose a superintendent, the board first searched from within. After the resignation of Milt Thompson, the board selected Steve McNeil to fulfill that position. Mr. McNeil did not have the academic credentials that were required to hold the position, and it was proven later during his term that neither did he have the character. After the resignation of Mr. McNeil, the board again searched from within and selected Dr. Tom Johnson to serve as superintendent. Whereas Dr. Johnson had the needed credentials, it was soon made evident that there were undisclosed circumstances that caused him to no longer serve as superintendent. And now I simply ask that the board to at least be consistent with a fair and open process. Dr. Dale Williams has both the academic credentials. He has the needed experience in that he has served as a principal, a superintendent in another district, and has served this community as its interim superintendent as well. He has shown that he possesses the character that is needed to do what you, President Indris, has stated are the intentions of this board, which is to build trust with the stakeholders of this district. I would ask that the board do just that by doing what is right, which is to be fair in your search process, and when you decide to begin your search again, that you will provide Dr. Dale Williams with a fair and equitable opportunity to move our school district forward.
Greg Schneider, 703 Milwaukee Road here in Beloit. Again, talking a little bit about the search process and more posing some questions there. I know in the paper it stated that the school board decided it paid the search firm at least half of its initial contract, and yet it's very clear that the board has devoted no confidence in the quality of this firm's search process and screening the candidates by choosing not to go back with them and not to continue with any of the candidates that were there. At which point, if there was no confidence in the firm, why are they being paid anything at all? I mean, it is clear with what had happened that they had not done due diligence in their search and probably did not meet the criteria of the contract that they had with the school district. Also, when we look at, I know the decision that the board had made is to choose an out-of-district interim to come in, but the requirement that that interim would not apply for the job is going to severely limit the quality and the number of candidates that you're going to receive, because not many people who are currently employed are going to give up the job that they have to come to Beloit for 1 year knowing they don't have a job after that point in time. So basically you're looking for people who are no longer working. Many of them are retired. No, I'm not saying that they're not qualified and that they won't do a great job, but you're also severely limiting the number of candidates that you can possibly have and how many people are willing to move or to drive to Beloit in order to hold a position that's guaranteed to be only the 1 year. Thank you.
Good evening to the Honorable School Board who works for our lovely community and to the community. My name is Lloyd Majid. I'm a small business owner and a property owner. And what I would like to touch on here today is, you know people by working with them and living with them. And we done worked with Dr. Williams. We know where his moral status stands. We know what he's about. And it's like the school system, in order to move forward, every time we have substantial base, we start all over again. We keep starting over, and ain't no business gonna prosper by just keep starting over. We starting over and over and over. And we have so many setbacks because we're not willing to use common sense. Common sense tell you that we see a difference here in our school system with Dr. Williams. He's bringing the community together. The students are taking pride in themselves. And I feel that, when you see a wrong, if you can't change it with your hands, at least you got to speak out against it, or you have to condemn it in your heart. And we spend all this money doing all this search and keep going back over and over and over starting over. And we can see that we are behind in many categories as far as reading or what in the state. But whose fault is it? Somebody has to take responsibility, and it's just kind of like, when what's going on with all the shootings in the school. All we say is, let's have a minute of silence. Let's do this and that. But ain't nobody taking action. And the action here today is common sense. You got a man that have put his heart into this system. And most people that come, they come in to build a resume. You don't know what a heart is. We know what this man's heart is. He have already proven himself through his works. You judge a person by his works, not by all this junk put on a piece of paper because I got all these credentials that I came through this process. Let's be real here. Hell, it's time out for this. We have to use common sense. We got a man that's making things happen. Let's go forward with reality. Quit starting over. Let's go forward. All this money we spending for this search and all that, we should be giving it to him. I mean, let's be real here. It's not even common sense to keep wasting money. Keep bringing in all these. It's just a process. Peace. I love the community. I love the school board. And listen, this is not pointing fingers. This is not me saying you guys are bad or this or that. This is what we're saying. What's our common sense? Peace.
All right. My name is Ryan Anderson, 1869 Royce Avenue. I know we've talked so much about Dr. Williams' character, but today we're gonna talk about just a little piece of what I saw that he done. See, a lot of people here don't know this, so I'm gonna tell you this. Last year at this time, we had 4,086 students come through ISI, which is in-school suspension. This year, we've had 806 at our school. And you want to know why? It's because of the dedication of Dr. Williams to these kids, to those parents, and to the staff members, the reason why we've turned it around. So therefore, we know about his character. I'm just going to give you a little piece about what he's done so far at Cunningham Intermediate School where I work at. Think about those numbers. Almost 5,000 kids down to 806. There's nothing else left to be said.
My name is Emma Harrell. I live at 2762 Cadillac Drive, Beloit, Wisconsin, and I'm submitting my 3 minutes to Dennis Baskin.
Chelsea Vaughn, 1117 Keeler. I'm submitting my minutes to Dennis Baskin.
Good evening, Board of Education. Dennis Baskin, 1768 Gateway Boulevard, resident, property owner, and generous taxpayer. President Indris, I told you I would be before you later, and that later is today. Pastor Ivy and Mr. Majid, let me clear things up for you. Okay? For the public, I just finished my 3-year term on the Board of Education. You all haven't heard the half of the story. First of all, it is insulting for a person to hear that they're going to be removed from their job in the Beloit Daily News. Chris Klobuchar, would you want to know that at your job? Number 2, Hillary, you don't have to go so fast. I have documentations for you. Number 2, it is insulting for you all not to evaluate that man and to draw that conclusion. Number 3, I'm addressing this to the Daily News. Hillary, do an open records request and ask for the email that President Indris sent to the staff informing them of the 3 finalists. In there, it talks about the background of one individual. It was President Indris that said in the paper that she had limited information on that person, and I think that that's incorrect. Number 2, Hillary, I'm suggesting that you will do an open records request between the emails between President Indris and the consulting firm. You're going to find something very interesting that was the paper has been misinformed. Dr. Williams, as I sit here today, I'm not surprised that Dr. Williams has been mistreated because racism is rampant throughout this district. President Indris and Vice President Klobuchar, I sent you an email on March 21st. And I told you that we have a major problem in this district. Number 1, I told you Ms. Carol Campbell, a white employee, was temporarily placed as head principal at Beloit Memorial High School. In fact, there was no interview process. She received a 2-year extension without a search process. Ms. Belinda McCarthy, white employee, did an interview for the assistant principal position at McNeil, but was placed there. In fact, there were no principal or staff input from McNeil. Number 3, Mr. Joe Viadox, white employee, was placed at Aldridge as principal without an employee interview process and staff input. Mr. Steve Ferger, white employee, was appointed interim athletic director during Mr. Chuck Sowell's transition. If my memory serves me correctly, there was no interview process. Mrs. Pepke, white employee, was appointed as principal at RCA. Ms. Tina Gex, white employee, was an assistant principal at Beloit Memorial High School and was appointed to head the principal at BLA without an interview process. Mrs. Jennifer Fanny, a white employee, was appointed principal at Cunningham without an interview process. Dr. Pam Wise, a white employee, was appointed co-superintendent and interim executive director of human resources without an interview process. And then it was some board members, it was some staff members that gave Miss Janae Banks Wilson, an African American, a hard time. And it was board member Pam Charles, who's a white dropout of school, had the audacity to question her credentials. Then, ma'am, you mentioned about our human resource director, Mrs. Tracy Carradine. Let's set the record straight. She has the credentials and she has an MBA. It was Pam Charles, a white person, who had the audacity to state in the paper that she was unqualified. That is what is called white privilege. The gall of her. It was wrong. We have a double standard in this district. Folks, Mr. Otho Williams have been in this district for 43 years. They tried stopping it, but behind closed door, I fought like hell. It was President Indris and others that played backdoor politics. And when I called them out on it, they had no choice. It's wrong. So Mr. Majid and Pastor Ivy, that's the name of the game. Let me finish. It is fundamentally wrong, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to contact the Justice Department. I'm going to contact the U.S. Department of Education. Are you with me, Pastor Ivy? And second of all, I sat in a town hall meeting, Ryan, where you all were subjected to racist comments by the staff. It was you, Kyle Larson, that told the human resource director that we hired too many blacks at one time. Okay? You talk about honesty and integrity. It doesn't exist. I told the board, I told you guys, that if you walked through this door, it was not going to be pretty. We are not going to rest as a community. Pastor Ivy, I would like to go further than your simple demands. I would like to go further because we have to rid the rotten spirit that's in this district. Okay? President Indris, you said in the paper some time ago that you didn't want to fill positions because the search firm said not to do it. You lied. I called you out on it. Even before we did the search process, you didn't want to fill those positions because that black man had the authority to do it. Number two, I've had a conversation with you. I know your dislike for him, and I asked you, what is it that you have a problem with? You still couldn't give me an answer. It's called backdoor politics, and I told you you would be exposed. President Indris, on March 24th, 2018, at 6:42 a.m., I called you a liar in an email, and I told you that you are playing a game that is going to backfire. I said that you are being untruthful to the Beloit Daily News. Here, Hillary. Number three, this is the demand, Pastor Ivy. Folks, this is going to be hot, but it's the truth, and I hope you all stand with me. Tomorrow, President Indris, because it is you and Pam Charles that initiated the assault against Daryl Williams. And it's the other board members who were misinformed. I excuse Carl Larson and David Wilson for their vote because they didn't understand the other dynamics. But Wendy, Shelley, and Klobuchar, you all know it's wrong to remove a person without informing them. President Indris, this is going to be very powerful, and you need to get ready. This is what it is, President Indris. Tomorrow, you might want to get this. I'm laying claim. Tomorrow, I will be contacting the board of directors of Beloit Health Systems and the president. You are an administrator with Beloit Health Systems. When Dr. Johnson went through his ordeal and he went through some tests, you used your job to get personal information about him, and you told me on the telephone. You violated his HIPAA. No, you cannot stop me. You
know what?
You violated.
Enough.
You violated his.
You are out.
You violated his
You are out
HIPAA.
of order.
You violated
Absolutely
his HIPAA
not.
rights.
You
Okay?
are out of order,
If
and
I-
you're done.
if I'm
You're out of order. You are done.
If I'm out of order,
Either you sit down, or I will assist you too. You are out of
you
order.
do it then. Assist me.
You
don't
are
have
out
You don't
of
have
order.
the authority. Okay? All right? President Indris.
You do not get to sit up here and make accusations of me that are not true.
That are true.
No,
I
it is
had a
not
conversation with a previous board member, and they're willing to support me because you told them to.
I did not.
Okay?
No, I did not.
President Indris, Vice President Klobuchar, Wendy Sanchez, Kyle Larson, Shelley Cronin, David Wilson. Number one, reverse your decision, please, and keep Dr. Williams in as interim superintendent. I'm not telling you to select him as the superintendent. Let the process play out. Okay? I told you, President Indris, that you all will not disrespect our community, and today is the day.
Further comments? Anybody else wishing to speak? All right, I'm going to continue on with the agenda. Up next, superintendent's report to the board, please.
Good evening. At this point in time, we'll move forward. At first, we'll have a presentation on the Beloit Literacy for Life initiative from Ms. Elliott. She will be followed by the ad hoc community update and an equity update by Ms. Tasha Bell.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to give a little update about the Beloit Literacy for Life initiative that I am a part of through the Beloit, the State Line Community Foundation, and many other organizations. So the Beloit Literacy for Life initiative is about empowering families and organizations with early literacy skills in the early years. Those 0 to 3 years, sometimes we talk about those 0 to 3 years as like kids are like a sponge. They're like a ShamWow. They're sucking up everything that we say and we do, and those years are really, really important. So we're really trying to get together as a community, and our goal is to work with families of our birth to 3 and to get them ready for school and beyond. And it's really about the future of our students. And somebody asked me, what is this going to look like? I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like because it's really organically developing. It's very fuzzy on the outside. And as other organizations jump on board and they look at their strengths and they realize they want to be a part of a community initiative, things are very organically growing. And I'm really excited because there's a lot of buy-in from everyone about our Beloit Literacy for Life initiative. It is about building capacity of our early learners. It's about helping everyone realize what the realities of our families are, helping understand the barriers that our families have, and helping families get over those barriers. And as we build the capacity in the community, we can provide equity for all. Beloit Literacy for Life is looking for organizations to kind of analyze their strengths and see how they can help with early learning and literacy. This isn't one of those, you should do that model. This is, what can we do to be a part of this? Is it like a faith-based organization wanting to put, when they do baptisms or christenings, not only are you saying you're going to help your child go in the faith, but also I'm going to help them with literacy. Is this about bringing in read-alouds into your soup lunches? Is this about getting access for books for families? Is this about coaching families on reading to your kids at home or reading the pictures? What is it that we're doing for families to help them with those literacy pieces? So who do we need involved? We need faith-based organizations, healthcare, businesses, nonprofits, service-based. We need foundations. And it's all about the relationships and working together in this process. And there's some really great resources that are out there. Read Aloud 15 has some translated materials that can be used by families, what is developmentally appropriate for reading and getting families engaged. There's also this Talking is Teaching, has playground materials, and really coaches families like in the playground. What are we talking about? We're talking about the cars and what are the different things that you can talk about, colors and numbers, to really prompt those conversations, to really get kids with different types of vocabulary. So it's a really, really exciting initiative, and I'm really excited to kind of update the board on what's going to be happening with the Beloit Literacy for Life initiative. In your packet, I let you know when the next meeting is. I think it's Monday the 6th at 7:30 a.m. We will be meeting monthly, and I'm hoping to let you know the different progress that we're making throughout the community. Beloit Library. So I'm really excited for this initiative. I'm just really excited that everybody is really kind of jumping on board and really understanding our little learners.
Thank you, and thanks for all the work you've done with the early literacy. Much appreciated. We know research tells us brain development 0 to 3 are the most important years, so we appreciate all the efforts. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Wanted to share a little bit about some of the work that my department and myself have been working on. Still focused on teaching and learning, because that's what we do each and every day, trying to make improvements for our students and improving outcomes. One of the things I got excited about last year was the creation of the Ad Hoc Committee for Academic Achievement. The committee was formed because we really wanted to galvanize community members to really take a look at research and best practices on how to improve student performance. And I want to thank those community members for all of their efforts, all of their time, because I don't want to miss someone, so I won't mention all of their names. But I really, truly thank you for all your work. You know, they spent 1.5 years really diving into research and best practices and saying, what is it that we need to do in this district to change outcomes for students? So thank you to everyone, even though I don't mention your names. So since January of 2017, the committee's charge was to examine and recommend actionable strategies to close the achievement gap in the school district of Beloit. There were 4 subcommittees created. One focused on academic achievement, another focused on parent, family, and community engagement, another focused on leadership and instructional capacity, and then the last one was focused on the learning environment. Since then, there were 12 actionable items that have been moved forward to the board and approved. They are the expansion and restructuring of an existing mentoring program for principals, the creation of an orientation handbook for all new administrators, the hiring of a consultant to do an independent study of the district's 4K and kindergarten program, the commission of a study to continue the work with Beloit College, the placing of 7 additional FTE positions to support administrative and student services needs on the budget priority list, the development of a district-wide volunteer coordinator program, starting with the lead coordinator and site coordinator, the creation of a district learning environment plan, which included the code of conduct, rights and responsibilities, and proactive strategies for student behaviors. And the final ones which were approved today, which are the creation of a new teacher mentoring program, the development and implementation of site teams at each building, the formation of a district-wide committee of stakeholders to analyze and make recommendations to the school board to address student behaviors, the assessment of the intermediate school model using an external evaluator, and the last one was to add 2 additional FTE for math coaches for next year, an additional FTE for interventionists and coaches the next 4 years to achieve parity with reading. So again, I want to thank everyone who worked on coming up with these strategies and interventions. Questions?
No, I too just want to thank the ad hoc committee. I know it's tough to get the community involved, and it was a huge commitment, and I'm very excited to see that we actually have some outcomes that we're going to be able to do some things with that, you know, make sense to everybody involved. So again, thank you. I know that's a huge commitment, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will echo that. We have some great recommendations from the ad hoc committee, so great job, and we will move forward with those. Anybody else? All right, moving on. We have equity update.
Good evening. I'd like to share some highlights from our department. On May 14th, the High School of Business did a very awesome visit to Carry Ingredients. The students enjoyed it, the staff, as well as Carry Ingredients. And this is the first time in recent history that we've had our high school students get to see the behind-the-scenes action at Carry Ingredients. So we're looking forward to continuing that partnership and are super excited about it. On the 19th of, on May 9th, Our LULAC Youth Council, which is 16008, had a collaboration with Youth to Youth for a parent meeting about the dangers of prescription drugs. We hosted this at the Rotary Center, and we had a nice turnout of parents, and they said it's something they wish they would know more information about, so we're looking to do that on an ongoing basis. Our language access policy is continuing to be in process. We hosted our Equality Committee meeting on May 14th, and it is the will of the committee that we will actually continue to meet in the summer. On May 5th, many of you may have heard about the summer program registration, which we hosted with Community Action, the City of Beloit Parks and Rec, the State Line YMCA, the State Line Boys and Girls Club, the Welty Environmental Center, Career Tech, and Beloit Public Library. We thought if we could get parents in one place to find out all of these options that they have for their youth in the summer would be a great idea. It is definitely the brainchild of Spencer from the City of Beloit and Marcellus Perry from Community Action, and they just invited other partners. I just happened to walk in when they were meeting and sat down at the table to sign the school district up to participate with them. It was a great event, and I think parents appreciated having the opportunity to have a one-stop shop to find out all these great options that happen within the City of Beloit. We featured a full-color ad in the Chronicle that had pictures of all of our Night of Distinction honorees, and so I just want to give thanks to Mr. Eugene Relaford for always supporting the district and asking for ways that we can highlight the district. Our recruitment efforts are ongoing, and I have some breaking news that I would like to share about our recruiting efforts. The Charles Hamilton Houston Institute was awarded grant funds to collaborate with the School District of Beloit on the Teacher Recruitment Education and Placement Project, which is an awesome thing for us as a school district to be a part of, to have some help and support when it comes to recruiting and retention. So we are looking forward to work with the Institute to get some things in place. And this is a grant that is through the Department of Workforce Development, so you'll definitely hear more about that in the coming weeks. We held our scholarship interviews with the State Line Community Foundation for our Grow Your Own scholarship, and just last weekend, our scholarship was awarded to Evelyn Cortez, who will be attending Black Hawk Tech for 2 years and then transferring to UW Whitewater. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Equality Committee report.
All right. As I stated, we had our meeting on May 14th. We were definitely happy to have Director Wilson in the house with us for our meeting as he transitions from just our equality member to one of our school board reps, so we definitely appreciated that. We did not have any previous minutes to approve. We had a discussion around the code of conduct, just clarifying what the code of conduct is and understanding that the board is having ongoing conversations with it. We mentioned that the contract for the City of Beloit with our school resource officers are up for renewal, so people had some questions around that. And Emily Pels was able to come in on the tail end of our meeting, so we made a decision that she would be willing to meet with the Equality Committee as well as the NAACP Education Committee. So we'll do a joint meeting in June, which is why the committee said they would be willing to meet in the summer. We reviewed our equity plan yearly goals that were added to the diversity, inclusion, and recruitment plan that was already approved by the board. One of the points that someone made was that we need to look at the Madison Boys and Girls Club program that was able to increase their ACT scores, and is that something that Equality Committee could assist with? We mentioned our future partnerships, which I highlighted about Carry Ingredients, but also Black Hawk Tech is a strong partnership that we will be exploring numerous options within the school district of Beloit. Our committee was definitely excited about the possibilities of not only our students, but our greater community being able to take advantage of the offerings at Black Hawk Tech. For future items, our committee would like to learn more about the data specialist position, as well as the interventionist positions and the SRO contracts. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Welcome Center update, please.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I will be brief, so you can ask me some questions. Over the past couple of weeks, team members from Angus Young and Gilbank and myself met to go over the bid to see where our new district office comes in at. Our pre-bid number was $5,336,000. Our post-bid was just under $5 million. So we did very well there. We still have our high school parking lot and roundabout to bid out, our main entrance, and our furniture and fixtures for the building. We're working on the first two items and hopefully have some conclusions back by summer. So things are going quite well. We do plan on breaking ground, hopefully, next month. And we still have a goal of April for substantial completion of our building. Cross fingers. And May as our substantial completion for the site. So the wind is at our back. Any questions at all?
Excellent. All the hard work is much appreciated. I know there were some challenging times, and I appreciate all that you guys have done to keep us moving forward, despite the bumps that always occur with any construction project.
Yes.
So much appreciated.
And thank you to the board for your support.
All right, next agenda item, I have consent list. May I please have a motion for the consent list?
I move that we approve the consent list.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to business action items, I'm down to B, Chromebook PO.
I move to table.
Okay,
I move to table that item.
okay. All right, can I have a motion to table the item, please? Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Security camera RFP.
Okay. We put an RFP out for cameras for our elementary schools, 5 of them, that either have little or no cameras for the outside of the buildings. We do have money in our budget to cover the expense, which we want to award to TC Networks. We've had six responses to our RFP, and we decided that TC Networks was the best choice. They were not the lowest choice. The 2 lowest submissions did not meet all of the qualifications. So TC Networks was the next lowest quote.
All right, any questions? No? Motion?
I move approval that we approve TC Networks for the installation of security cameras in the amount of $126,864.73.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks. I am down to item D, please. Can I have a motion?
I move that we approve the resolution to authorize the board hearing officer, board expulsion officer to determine pupil expulsion under Wisconsin State Statute 120.13, parent 1, parent E, 1 through 4, effective July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019. I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and roll call, Michelle.
Cronin? Endres?
Aye.
Klobuchar?
Aye.
Larson? Aye. Sanchez? Aye. Wilson? Carried.
All right, thank you. Next up, discussion items. Do I have any items of interest for consideration at future meetings? Seeing none, I'm going to move on. Announcement of future board meeting dates. Committee meetings will be determined, and we will announce those as soon as we get those solidified. We have students, staff, fiscal, infrastructure, and communication. And a quick plug, if you are still interested in serving on those committees, please contact us. The next business meeting will be June 26th of 2018. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.